How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Dragon's Den. Today is going to be more of a just sort of a discussion. So I'm not really going to have any images or anything like that up today, but I do want to talk to you about the Duskmourn draft and sealed environment. So last night I played in my local game store's Duskmourn pre-release, and to just shoot straight with y'all, like it didn't go very well, and that sort of seemed to be a common theme throughout the night. So, what I noticed is if you didn't, it was very hard to get a very cohesive kind of deck going, is what a lot of us seem to struggle with. So, we had two or three people that opened some really good stuff that was really, really synergistic, and they just absolutely ran over the event, none of them ever losing a single game. And then for the other, 25 of us or so, none of us really had a deck that could even compete with those guys, and we were all kind of just, our games were kind of 50-50, losing just as much or more often than we were winning. So, and what most of us had the issue with is we opened up our packs and we might see some decent stuff, but none of it was really synergistic, right? So, I actually had to go 4-color because I didn't open up enough good stuff of even just 2 colors to go 2-color. And the biggest theme I got was the Eerie mechanic, which on paper Eerie is pretty good. I mean, it's a lot like Constellation or something like that. When enchantments enter, or whenever you fully unlock a room, then the effect happens. Well, the Eerie cards that I pulled were just okay. They weren't just super great. Like, the creatures that I controlled, their Eerie would be they gain lifelink until end of turn or something like that, some small effect. And it just wasn't enough. So then there were some enchantment creatures, and there were some decent enchantment creatures, nothing crazy, And other than that, so there's a few main mechanics for the set. So there's the survival mechanic, where if your creature is tapped during your second main phase, you get an effect, and that's mostly in green and white. Well, I think with the exception of one card, every survival card is in green and white. Then there's the Eerie mechanic, mostly split between blue, white, and black. Then there's this red-white sort of synergy. It's not necessarily a mechanic, but a lot of the red-white cards care about you having creatures with power 2 or less. And then green is like, well, then there's Delirium. Delirium is sort of spread across mostly green and black, but also with a few of the other colors mixed in too. So that's what made it really difficult. Is, let's just say on average you opened up your packs and you got like an even distribution of colors. Or even if you opened up a lot of one color, say you had a really, really strong, green pool, and your other ones were just decent. Well, now the vast majority of that color is split up between vastly different themes. So if you opened some good green stuff, well, now your green stuff is going to be split up between Delirium and Survival and, like enchantment synergy stuff. So it was hard to kind of build a deck that was centralized around one theme, and that's something that we were all running into. So, removal was decent. There's a few different board wipes in the sealed environment, and If you weren't one of the ones lucky enough to get them, kind of puts you at a big disadvantage. But back to my pre-release thing is like I opened up a bunch of the doors. I think I pulled 8 doors, and I'd say only one of the doors that I opened was actually like really good. Excuse me. Sorry, I yawned a little bit. Yeah, only the one of the doors that I pulled was actually really good, and it is a really good door. It's the funeral room door. It's something that is actually really good. You can pay 3 to unlock the first side, and it gives you like a pseudo blood artist effect where when your creatures die, your opponent loses one and you gain one. But then if you can pay 7 into the other side, you return all your creatures to the battlefield. So it's actually really solid. The rest of the doors that I got were just okay. They either like they color fixed me or something like that. It was decent but not great. And there were some really, really, really strong doors out there, like wiping the board and then giving all of your stuff hexproof and things like that. So the hexproof door is insanely strong. If you get that, it's definitely worth running because it shuts off all the single target removal, and single target removal in a sealed environment is extremely important. Extremely important. So there's plenty of decent removal in every color. There's something like a Scorching Dragon's Fire in red, and then you have there's some removal in white and black as well. There's plenty of reanimation spells to be able to bring your stuff back and whatnot. Even green has some removal where, it's sorcery speed removal, but it works. So removal isn't necessarily an issue. There's plenty of counter magic, of course. Lots of enchantments and whatnot. But honestly, as a set, I really, really like Duskmourn. The theme is amazing. The 80s kind of horror movie vibes and everything else make Duskmourn really, really entertaining as far as that. And there are some very, very good, very, very high powered permanents in Duskmourn. It's a decent set. However, for sealed, limited, draft, whatever, I don't think it's that great. It's just got too much going on as a set that, and maybe it'll be better in draft. I haven't got the opportunity to draft the set yet, and when I do draft, I'll probably draft on Arena, and that may give you the opportunity to maybe get to pick and choose around a certain theme a little bit better and whatnot, and sort of be a little bit more cohesive in that sense, so it may be better for draft. But I know as far as just pure sealed, like pre-release is concerned, I didn't really enjoy it. Like, it was okay, but the only joy I got out of it was getting some cool cards. Yeah, I don't think it plays very well just because there's too many different themes going across the set that it makes it hard to build a deck that actually works and functions together. Whereas when I played in the Bloom Barrel pre-release, it was incredible how well my deck synergized. I was able to go 2-color, and I could have built a whole separate 2-color deck, and both of them would have been fine, but I ended up going Golgari in that one, and I had a super synergistic, big creature, reanimator, plenty of removal kind of deck going, and it was great. So, and every deck that I played against in the Bloom Burrow pre-release functioned as, they seemed like real decks. They were actually cohesive and things like that. So Bloom Burrow was amazing. And then Duskmourn felt like it was just on the opposite end as far as synergies and things like that were concerned. And it was just really, really tough to deal with that. So, Duskmourn as a set, as a whole, for theming, for cards and things like that, and the vibe that it gives off and everything else, honestly, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. For any sort of limited or sealed play, I give it about a 3 out of 10. So, that's just something I wanted to talk about because I've gotten more into the sealed and limited side of Magic and everything else, and I honestly just didn't have a very great time with Duskmourn. So, with that being said, why don't y'all let me know down below if you played any pre-releases or drafts or anything like that this weekend? Why don't you tell me how it went and let me know what you think about Duskmourn? And I'll catch you next time.